Okay, so today we're going to be exploring the box method as a strategy for division. So we're going to be using 462 divided by 3 as our example for the box method. And we're going to know how big to draw a box or how many columns we need to draw based on how big our dividend is. In this case, the largest number is in the hundreds place, so that's why we're going to need 3 spaces to represent that. We're also going to be following 4 steps throughout our box method, the first being division, the second being multiplication, the third being subtraction, and the last being carrying it over. Okay, and our first step is moving our divisor to the left side of the box here, and then we can get started. So I'm going to copy down 462 into my first column. Then I'm going to ask myself, because I'm going to be dividing, how many times can the number 3 go into the number 4? Well, I know that I can go in there 1 time. But is that number 4 really a number 4, or is it just a 4 in the hundreds place? Well, we know that it's actually in the hundreds place, and we're going to have to represent that by adding 2 zeros to our 1, so that it's 100 now. And now we're going to multiply 3 times 100 to get 300. Then we're going to subtract 462 minus 300, that's 162. And then our last step, we're going to carry this number over. And I'm going to write 162. Now I'm going to ask myself again for division, how many times can the number 3 go into the number 1? Well, I know that it can't go into the number 1, so we have to move over. How many times can the number 3 go into the number 16? Well, I know that I can go in there at least 5 times. Now, was this 6 in the tens place, the hundreds place, or the ones place? Well, it was in the tens place, so once again we're going to have to represent that by adding another 0 to show that there's 5 tens, so it's 50. And then we're going to multiply. So 3 times 50, that's going to be 150. And then we're going to subtract. 162 minus 150 is 12. And lastly, we're going to carry this over and put 12 here. Now, we're going to divide again. How many times can number 3 go into, in this case, the number 12? And this is an easy one, so we know that it can go in there evenly 4 times. So I'm going to multiply 3 times 4 to get 12. Then I'm going to subtract to get 0. And once you reach 0, or once you reach a number that's smaller than your divisor, we know that 0 is smaller than 3, we know we're finished our question. So I'm going to add all these numbers up together, and we get 100 plus 50 plus 4, which is 154 as our quotient. Okay, so we're going to be doing one more example, but this one's going to be a little bit different from the first one because it will have a remainder in the answer. We're going to be doing the question 57 divided by 4. And for our box, it's going to look slightly different because the dividend in this case is only 57, which means the largest digit is in the tens place, so I only need 2 columns for this. We'll be following the same 4 steps we talked about earlier for our box method. First of all, I'm going to move the divisor, which is the number 4, onto the left side. And then we can begin. So I'm going to write 57 into my first column and ask myself, how many times does the number 4 go into the number 5? Well, I know it goes in there 1 time. But that's not really a number 5, it's a 5 in the tens place. And I'm going to have to represent that by adding a 0 after my 1. My next step is I'm going to multiply 4 times 10 to get 40. Then I'm going to subtract 57 minus 40 to get 17. Then I'm going to carry it over, write 17 on this side, and then once again divide. How many times does the number 4 go into the number 1? We know that's not possible, so we move over. How many times does the number 4 go into the number 17? I know it goes in there 4 times. And then I'm going to multiply. 4 times 4 is equal to 16. 17 minus 16 leaves us with 1. And now we know that we actually finished, because whenever we have a number that's smaller than our divisor, in this case 1 is smaller than 4, we know we're finished. So the next step, we just have to add 10 plus 4, which gives us 14. Don't forget about the 1, because that's going to be our remainder. So 57 divided by 4 is equal to 14 with a remainder of 1.